Its loud cry can be heard over half a mile away. If its high, keening cry is heard echoing all around, it's a sign that they are warning each other of danger. The Pokédex, Emerald version. I threw a rock at him. Killer Croc, from the famous Batman the Animated Series episode, Almost Got Him. I've probably said it before on this show, but I struggle with the flying type Pokemon in Gen 1. Specifically, I struggle with which Pokemon I want to teach the HM to fly. If you don't want to use legendaries and or don't want to wait until the end game to have a Pokemon that can fly, you basically have 5 choices. Pidgey, Spearow, Doduo, Farfetch'd, and Aerodactyl. I'm not really a fan of Pidgey. Farfetch'd isn't great in battle, and Aerodactyl is cool, but he has the same issue as the legendaries in that you don't get him until Cinnabar Island. That leaves Spearow and Doduo. I definitely went through a phase where I used Doduo because I find it very funny that the flightless bird can learn fly, but Spearow is sort of right up my alley. It's not the obvious choice, sort of a second-tier Pokemon like Tentacruel or Exeggutor. It's also coded as a villain like Beedrill, and I have to pick one of them after all. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably why some of the early game flyers are icons to me in later games. Because there's almost always a solid flying type modeled off of Pidgey who's unique to the generation. In particular, I really love Hoot Hoot and Fletchling. Another notable bit about Spearow is that Ash throws a rock at one in the pilot episode of the Pokemon anime. This, of course, leads to Ash being attacked by a flock of Spearow, and the theory that the attack put Ash in a coma, and that's why he's been an eternal 10-year-old in a less than harsh reality ever since. I sort of hate this theory. The world obviously becomes less harsh in later episodes of the anime because the creators either got studio notes or realized that the show is for little kids. At the same time, at least it's better than a lot of actually the main character died theories, in that at least the tone of the show changed after the event in question. I actually looked into whether Spearow was named after Spiro Agnew, Nixon's vice president. Bulbapedia and other resources suggest that Spearow is a mix of sparrow and spear, but Bulbapedia editors are nothing but a handful of men responsible only to their corporate employers and filtered through a handful of commentators who admit to their own set of biases. Get it? Because that's a quote from Spiro Agnew about the media or something. I don't know. I did a very cursory amount of research. Lastly, longtime fans will note that the original intro music to this podcast was a random encounter outside of Cerulean City with a Spearow, so Spearow will always be an important Pokemon to this show. Thanks for listening, and don't forget that you are the very best, like no one ever was.